decision? What was it?
Well, we actually kept them together. We actually created facilities that would allow us to keep the families together while they were being processed and ultimately deported. Now, one thing that I have to make clear is most of our problem with illegal migrants were economic migrants. They were looking for a better job. Now we have a different sort of migrant. We have people who are seeking asylum. They're actually fleeing from violence and disorder in their home countries, usually in Central America.
Mostly fakers, we're told. Was that your experience?
No, I think asylum seekers, they're not all telling the truth, but I think a lot of them do flee. Now, some of them are not qualified under the existing law, but many of them believe they may be, and certainly they've got a fair shot. And basically what happens is the Border Patrol makes an initial determination about whether they have a credible basis or not. When you're dealing with asylum seekers, deterrence doesn't work the same way because the choice is either go to jail or get killed, and most people will prefer jail. So I think that creates a different spin on the problem now.
When you heard that what zero tolerance was going to mean under the Trump administration and what they were doing with the kids, what went through your mind?
Well, I'm not really sure what was meant by zero tolerance. My understanding originally was they were talking about prosecuting everybody who came in illegally for a misdemeanor, and then ultimately they wind up getting time served. I did not understand it to mean, frankly, that you're actually separating the families in order to send a message.
I just wanted to catch the beginning of this guy. This is Michael Chertoff, one of Bushy's big proponents of the Gulf War and the Neocon movement that involved him and Wolfowitz and Pearl. And most people out here don't understand what a neocon is because they don't know what the term alludes to. Neocon is a specific term. It has to do with the ethnicity of conservative American Jews. And the reason they're called neocons is because they were new conservatives. Like as if an epiphany struck them. And they became, I don't know, Goyim. All of a sudden, yearning for war in the Middle East. And what was their real motivation? Let me tell you. It was two things. Number one, they are capitalist entrepreneurs of the worst kind. Okay? They wanted to make bazillions of dollars off a war. And they did. They got filthy rich. And the perversion started the day after, when they constructed these contracts with all the victims of government workers who died in the rubble. And they made sure that they signed these documents, allowing them to collect money. And if they didn't sign up immediately, foregoing any chance later on at lawsuits, which surely would have come in the name of righteousness and justice, they bought the people off. Some would say they paid a lot of money to these wives of firemen and cops. Others say they got off easy. But they made sure their friends in Saudi Arabia wouldn't be sued. Isn't that fascinating? See, again, the American taxpayer can get screwed, but not a Saudi Arabian, not the governments of Germany and Brussels who fostered the hatred by abusing those Muslim pricks who came and flew airplanes into our buildings and killed American citizens. There was never really any justice. It was just a bunch of people making money. The second thing was they wanted to take out the enemies of Israel because that was their big preeminent logic. So these neocons wanted to make sure they got Georgie Porgy Pumpkin Pie Bush W to bomb the shit out of anybody who ever threatened Israel. Did you notice? Saddam Hussein, gone. All right? We went after anyone who threatened to kill Israel. Now, I'm a very pro-Israel guy. I don't apologize for capitalism. But thievery and criminals should go to jail. I don't care what they come in the name of. And guys like this, and a lot of these people that got involved in security, they made bazillions of dollars off of this crap. And the average GI and soldier and Marine got to die and come back in a box and their names never known. It's sickening. And now look, they're going after the guy who's exposing all of this. That would be Donald Trump. He called it When guys like me were supporting Bush, Trump said this stinks to high heaven. And he was right, and I was wrong. Because naively as a conservative Christian, I thought doing God's work would be a good thing, defend Israel, and maybe try to open up democracy and capitalism to these Islamic countries that are still living 800 years AD. Trump saw through it all. I did not. Most of us meant well. But see, I think these guys like Chertoff and Bush and Cheney, they knew all along what their objectives were. So quite frankly, they bamboozled a lot of us. And I'm here to tell you they bamboozled me. But they're not fooling me anymore. And Donald Trump is on top of all of it. He sees through the fog like he's got lasers for eyes. And just like with the minorities of America, I pray God they're waking up. But they never secured our borders. They were worrying, telling us we had to secure the green zone and the line in Fallujah. Do you remember? And we had to cauterize the Iraqi-Iranian border. But they left our borders wide open after we were attacked, the worst attack on American soil in history. We were wide open and splayed for the world to see how inadequate the FBI was. The CIA. That one guy went before, I can't remember his name, crying, saying we failed the American people. They got rid of him pretty quick. The rest of them, they all tried to grab for a better paying job, either in the CIA or in the FBI. And it's these entrepreneurial rats that have all been exposed. And that brings us to Mueller and Comey and McCabe and Strzok. They never had it so good. You see, America, your pain, your death and destruction was their gain. And they don't want to give it up because the boogeyman business worked real good since 9/11. And Trump is cutting it off at the pass. No more boogeymen coming into America to blow us up. And that puts them out of business.